Hi, welcome to SEW Eurodrive, Driving the World. Today we have Alex Cable. He is the head of our legal and compliance department. It's great having you today, Alex.
Great. Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about the certificate of origin, why it's important, what is it, and why does it play a role in SEW's business. So first of all, what is a certificate of origin?
So I'm laughing because it seems like it should be a simple, straightforward question.
Right.
Unfortunately, anytime you get the government involved, something that seems like it would be simple stops being simple, right? Certificate of origin at its root is provide us with a statement of what country your product comes from.
Right.
The unfortunate thing about that is depending upon the context in which you're asking and what you intend to do with our product once you have it, the certificate that we give you and the answer that we give you could be quite different.
Okay. So we have the context, and it sounds like we have some roads to go down. So, what context would most of SEW's customers kind of be looking for this certificate? What would they need it for?
Sure. Well, there could be a couple of different things, right? But the two main ones that you're going to run into the most are if you're trying to be involved in sort of government contracting, like you're putting a bid together to be a part of a government project, construction, whatever.
Okay.
The other one is if you're trying to take either our goods or your goods or some sort of combination and export them outside the U.S.
Okay.
So there needs to be information about where do these goods come from, where do they originate from for those different things.
All right. So, we have two main branches we're going to go down for our customers. Let's start with the government bid. So, what what role does that play, and why is the government interested at all in this certificate of origin from SEW?
Yeah, certainly. So you've probably heard of this thing, the Buy American Act,
I
right?
have. Yep.
There is a preference in government contracts that all the goods and products that are involved in those be domestic, be from the U.S.
Makes sense.
And there are a number of different laws associated with it. One is the Buy American Act. Others are the Trade Agreements Act, the ARRA, which is the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. There are a couple of different ones that are relevant here. And they use these certifications, certificate of origin or whatever you want to call it, to show that the goods actually are U.S. products.
Okay.
Now, the reason that we ask about that is, for instance, under the Buy American Act, a lot of SEW products will be U.S. origin, but a lot won't. Whereas under, say, something like the Trade Agreements Act, the vast majority of SEW products will be considered U.S. origin.
Okay. So, that's kind of a question that we would clarify with government bids. We would ask our customer, which government entity or domain are you looking for, and what are we trying to fit? Because it sounds like some of our stuff will work in a certain one by American and others won't, while the other options we have a larger berth of product that'll fit into it.
That's exactly right. And there are a couple of different things that can trigger which statutes will apply. And so our folks are trained to ask you questions about, okay, what kind of project is this going into? What's the general size of the contract? Because that can affect it as well in terms of
Okay.
like dollar amount and things like that. So we'll ask for some clarification there to make sure that we're providing you with the correct information.
That sounds good and all well and good, and as we should do. So now we got the government contracts under control.
Mm.
So that's going to be one certificate of origin. And the other main one you mentioned was exporting. So why is that not the same certificate?
Well, because you're dealing with different laws, right?
Okay.
The main ones that you're going to be dealing with for export for the purposes of certificate of origin would be something like the USMCA, which used to be NAFTA.
Okay.
Other things could come up as well, issues about export controls, make sure that you're not sending U.S. products to sanctioned countries and things like that. But the big one's going to be the USMCA. And why that's relevant is when you're doing exports, there are taxes and tariffs and things like that associated with it. But if it is U.S. origin, a lot of times you can get around those tariffs. So they're going to want to ask us, what's the origin of your product?
That makes sense. So those are the two main domains that we work in. And let's say we get no direction from a customer. And unfortunately, without the communication, we send them an improper certificate. What is something that could happen, or what are some of the woes that our customers could find themselves in?
Well, great question. And that is why we train our folks to ask why, basically. When we get a request for a certificate of origin, we want to make sure that we're providing the right information. Because, so let's say you're in the government contracting realm,
Right.
like we talked about before, and you ask for a certificate of origin and we don't provide you with the right one. And we have said that, maybe our products are U.S. origin, whereas under this particular statute, they wouldn't be. Your best case scenario is that all the work that you've done to create that bid, the pricing, the quoting, and all of that to pass it along, best case scenario is that you're going to have to redo all that.
Which is not efficient
Which
at
is
all.
not efficient. It's not what you want to do. Of course, your worst case scenario is that you're providing incorrect, possibly fraudulent information to the government. We don't want you to be involved in that, and we don't want to be involved
Right.
in
That sounds like something no one wants to get entangled with. They can help it.
Absolutely. So when we ask questions like why, that is us trying to do our due diligence to make sure that we're taking care of you, the customer.
Right. We're not trying to be a pain.
Right.
We're not misunderstanding, or it's not like we don't know what you're talking about. We're just trying to make sure that we can efficiently and properly get you the information that you need.
That's exactly it.
And with that, is there anything else of certificate of origins that should be addressed for our customers, or does that pretty much put a bow on it?
I think that's going to cover 99% of scenarios. The big thing is just understand when you ask for a certificate of origin, when you get those follow-up questions, that this is the reason why, is that we're making sure we're getting you the right thing.
We're working with you to make sure it's as seamless and as easy as possible.
That's it.
Well, awesome. I really appreciate your time,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I believe this will be very useful to our viewers and our customers, and I hope to see you on here again soon.
Well, good. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.